Hi everybody, my name is Doug Wilson and this is Yellow Hawk Customs Outdoors. We got Bob here again. I know a lot of you guys love to see Bob on camera.
Yeah, right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to him and he's going to tell you what we're going to do. So if you guys stay right there, don't go anywhere. Grab a beer, get yourself a cup of coffee. Matter of fact, I'm going to make a cup of coffee too. All right? So we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. How'd you like that introduction? Pretty cool, huh? All right, so we got Bob, right? He's going to tell you what we're going to do for this video.
All right, guys, sometimes on the click and on at least Woods Runner, I post some knives that I purchased. Now, I usually buy knives anywhere between, I don't know, 35 to 48 to 100 some odd dollars. Okay.
He does not buy expensive custom knives. That's not Bob.
Not always. I just don't have the money for it when I can get bang for the buck out of something a little cheaper and nicer. Okay. Right. Well, not nicer, but expendable.
More budget.
So I brought some knives with me that didn't cost an arm and a leg. They sharpen well. They cut well. I tend to like them. We're going to talk a little bit about designs, whatever. And I'm just going to hand them to Doug one at a time and let him give you some first impressions. Now, he has a certain criteria that he judges knives on, and he will tell you what they are. I do also, and they're just a little different. But be it as it may, some of you guys are looking for budget knives, and you don't want to break the bank, and these knives will take care of you. I always talk about Condor. I talk about all the Scandinavian type knives. They're all moderately ranged, like Helle, $165 Helle knives in Norway. They're good knives. Mora, Verusaleka, you can't go wrong with those knives. Although they've gotten expensive now, everybody likes them. When it becomes popular,
you notice how when they become popular,
everybody wants one.
Creeping up in price.
Yeah. The knife you're going to use the most probably is in the range of 3 to 4.5 inches. That's the kind of knife you'll probably use the most of, and it'll probably be more of a carbon steel type knife. That's how I look at it. And my knives, I use them in the kitchen. I cut dogs and cut off packages.
Not cats, dogs.
Yeah, and I have a cat and stuff like that. So they're mostly utilitarian knives.
Damn Mongolians.
That's right. So I'm gonna drive on, okay? So I'm just gonna hand them to him, and he's gonna give you a what for.
Okay, what for?
All right, this is the Finnish Army knife, the newer modern Finnish Army knife. It's the almost 7-inch long Kuka style that was developed by, I think his name is Captain Peltronen, and they have a smaller one than this. This knife goes anywhere from $130 to $180 new. So I'm just putting it in his hand. He
130 to 180.
Yeah, about 180. Yeah, you can get it Ben's out. What's it? Ben's backwoods for about 135.
Okay. Do you know what the steel is?
I think it's a 1095. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I believe it is.
Look at it. 3/16 inch thick, full flat grind. It's a full flat. Goes all the way down. Composite handle, that rubbery Kraton handle stuff. It's a little harder than Kraton though.
Not like the Verusaleka handles, they're a little softer.
And what's the price on it?
Anywhere from 135 to 180, 160. Something.
Okay. I think that's a little expensive for this knife. However, it depends on who makes it. Who makes it?
It's Peltronen. It's made by the guys up in got Kasolava or whatever in Finland,
Okay.
up north in Finland. I forget how to say it.
I think that's a little pricey for this blade. However, it feels like a good stout utility knife. Okay, it's a little longer than I would use in the field.
Well, it's a military fighting, could be a fighting
fighter, utility, combat. You know, but it's a nice knife. Nice knife. Dull spine, right? So you're not going to get much bushcrafty stuff out of this. This is a utility knife, right? You're not going to do a whole lot of chopping and stuff with this. That doesn't have the heft to it. It's a thinner blade. You can see it's only about an inch wide, maybe 3/4 of an inch wide.
Yeah.
Right. And what is that? 6 inches, maybe?
It's almost 6 inches.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe. Right. It is 6 inches.
So I like it. It's a decent knife. Would I purchase it myself? No. But if I needed a knife like this, I would probably give it a shot.
Okay.
All right.
I paid $70 for it. I have 2 of them.
You just said 120 to 180.
I paid $70 for it though.
Was it used?
This is new.
Brand new. You paid 70.
Yeah, I got it from a guy who just it was a pre-owned, but he didn't use it.
Okay. So you bought it from somebody, not retail.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I do everything on eBay, so if I can.
All right. I did that for him.
Yeah, he turned me on to it.
I turned him into an eBayite.
Okay, this is a recent purchase. This is by a Merc maker. His name Ancient Alien. I have 2 of his knives that about a year and a half ago that he made, and I think they were the only 2 he ever made because I have them. After that, he never had any. Never saw them again on eBay. Now he's been making them in a Jeff White style. He calls them a Jeff White style. Okay, so since then I've purchased 3 of them. One I forgot and left home, and another one's coming in the mail.
Okay. All right, so this is about an 1/8 inch thick.
It is.
I would say 1095 steel.
It is. Yeah.
It's got a nice hardwood handle. I couldn't tell you. Actually, this is a composite handle.
It is with birch and some other things. Yeah.
Right. This is actually resin, and looks like birch and a couple other woods in there.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a pretty handle. Check it out. Check out the handle. All right.
That was $75. That's shipping and handling. $10. It was like $65.
I like the blade profile. I like these French trappers.
Out of Tucson, Arizona.
This is a good bushcrafter for the money, I would think.
Under 6 inches.
It's very sharp. And let me talk about the criteria that I have for knives, okay? When I say to myself, hey, I want to get a knife, another knife. I have a lot of knives, right? But the criteria I use for each knife that I buy is, number 1, it has to be something that catches my eye, right? There is a wow factor with me too.
Yeah, me too.
Right? A lot of guys got that. They don't have that wow factor. I don't want it. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of my designs, I put like a wow factor into them, but also a lot of utility. So it's got to be a handsome knife to me.
Yeah, me
right? too. The other thing is heat treat. I have to trust the company that makes the knife. Okay? Bob's a little different in that regard. He'll buy the knife, test it out. If it doesn't sharpen, he'll resell it.
Yep.
I put a little bit more investigation into it. Okay? That's why I stick with certain makers. Yep. Okay?
Well, he used one of the Ancient Alien bigger knives that I have split in wood this past March. Remember the one I gave you? That was an Ancient Alien that you were splitting.
All right.
And it did the job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a $68 knife.
Absolutely.
So one of the things, my criteria is it's got to sharpen well. I got to be able to put an edge on it with no effort. Most blade designs I like are bellied or rounded, drop pointed, because they just move across stone just so much easier, or ceramic or whatever. If it doesn't hold an edge or doesn't take an edge, and I work on it, I try to reprofile, and it just does not work, I sell them at a gun show. I just get rid of them. I don't want them, you know. But I like this certain design. I like the sweep here. I like the sweep here. The point, it's ergonomic. It's simple. I really like simple knife designs.
I like it too.
So
I like this knife. Now, is it? a high-end custom, no, I can tell right away that the guy who made this knife, he's good, but he's not extraordinary. You know what I mean?
Well, he's putting out a simple product.
Exactly. It's simple, lower priced, but very capable.
Does the job.
Outdoor tool.
It cuts.
Now I want to go back to this heat treat thing. The heat treat is the soul of the knife. Okay, you can have the prettiest knife in the world. Okay, but if that heat treat is not right for that steel, you may as well just throw it away.
Doug and I had a puka knife that I just could not get sharpened, and it just would not sharpen. I mean, I tried everything. I gave it to Doug to put on a machine to see if maybe my hands weren't doing it. He says, "Bob, this thing, it chips.
It just will not take an edge."
I sent it back to the guy. I said, "I don't want it."
And that is a telltale sign that the heat treat wasn't done correctly, or it wasn't heat treated at all. If you take a knife that's made from annealed steel, which is annealed steel is the steel that they make the knife out of before they heat treat it. Okay, before they impart a soul to it, right? Annealed steel, you can make it kind of sharp, but it won't get really sharp, and it will not hold an edge to save its life. Okay, and that's how you can tell whether the heat treat is. That's one of the telltale signs. All right.
All right. Moving on, a bigger knife that I like a lot because of its Germanic and Scandinavian background. The Sax, or the SKRAMA Sax. This is a 240 by Varusaleka. They have another one out now. I think it's called a 260 or something like that. It's a little shorter.
So this is not the SKRAMA bush knife.
No, this ain't the small one. This is.
I'm talking about. This is the bigger bush knife.
This is the original one.
Right?
This is the original one, and the one you have downstairs.
All right.
It's
So
the original one.
This is the SKRAMA bush knife. This is the bigger one that Varusaleka sells.
240, it's called.
The 240, right? And these are, I believe these are 80 CRV2, the steel.
They are, I think.
Really sharp spine, right? Really sharp edge. The heat treats are always good with these. Now I know this because I have one of these and I've used it in the field. This is a badass knife for the field, okay? It is a chopper as well, okay? However, it does have a Scandi grind, so Scandi grinds are traditionally a little weaker at the edge, but trust me, if it's a decent steel, usually it can handle a little bit of chopping.
Yeah,
right?
you just put another finish on it. They finish up real quick. They sharpen quick, and this is $65 or so.
Nice,
with just
knife.
a regular plastic sheath.
For the
if you
price,
get the leather one, it's $85. The leather sheath.
Right. I have put Kydex sheaths on many of these, and they Kydex well, right? If you have one of these, no matter what you paid for it, $65 or $10, it doesn't matter. It is worth a nice Kydex sheath. It's worth putting one on it. It's a great knife. Composite handle, really hard rubber handle, lanyard hole in the back. This is a good pommel, right, for crushing nuts or whatever, okay? Nice. nice knife. All right, let's see what this is. This is a Tops Bob, isn't it?
But it's the Fieldcraft.
The Fieldcraft. This is a thicker one.
And it has a pommel extension where the regular Bob does not.
Right, okay. All right, so I've always liked this knife, okay? It's made by Tops. It is 1095 steel. This one has like a stone wash finish to it. But to be honest with you, I don't give a fat rat's butt what the finish is on my knife, okay? If it's a user, I do tend to go for prettier, cooler looking knives, but in the end, at the end of the day, I'm using these things in the field and they get beat up. No matter what I pay for it, 200 or 6,000, it doesn't matter. I'm using it in the field if I like it.
You could get these for about $100 to $120, $130. I got it for $70.
Nice knife.
On eBay. Nothing wrong with it. The guy was, I don't know, the guy just was selling it. He hardly ever used it. If I was going to go into the woods for any extended period of time, this is a knife I would carry with me.
This is a nice knife.
It's very stout.
It's very popular. Okay,
and
there are thousands of guys out there that have this knife.
It's a well-made knife.
micarta
designed.
scales. Got two bow drill divots,
yeah.
one on each side.
Got red liners.
Red liners. Really, it's sharp looking. It's really sharp. This was made for Brothers of Bushcraft by Tops. Okay.
Yeah, Greg Barr kind of turned me on to it when he had one. So he
Nice
wanted
knife.
he wanted a bush lure, and I wanted one of these. So
It's
we
got these thumb scallops, right? They give a little more grip to your thumb for shaving stuff, you know, like cook saws and, you know, spoons and stuff like that. This is a really nice bushcraft knife that's very tough.
Yeah.
Scandi grind, very sharp. I like it. Nice knife. Okay, so this is a more traditional style puka, right?
It's like a Sloyd knife.
Really, now here's what I think the maker is intending with this knife. This is a woodworker.
Yeah.
Okay, you're making stuff with this knife, right? It's got curly birch handles, right? And these are layers of birch.
Yeah.
Compressed together.
You
right?
got to keep them oiled, or they will dry out and come apart.
Exactly. So you can see the peen, the peen at the end there, where they smash it in and make it all nice and tight, right? This is a woodworking knife. It's a full tang knife. I would think that tang probably goes all the way back to here. Well, it has to. It's peened on the back.
Peened. Goes all the way through.
All right. However, it's not a full tang. You know what I mean? It's not. This is a rat tail. It goes down. So like you got the thickness of the blade, right? And then you got the thickness, and it tapers all the way to the back, right? This is not a very strong knife. You're not batoning with this. You're not chopping with it. You're not prying. You're not doing anything hard with this knife. Because if you do, you will break it. All right? But, great little woodworker. They put this brass piece here to strengthen up the hilt, right?
It's I paid was it $45? It was $50. I got it for $45. Guy makes them in Michigan. I like them. They make good neck knives. It's just handy little knife. And like I said, I don't know, 80% of your 75% of your work's going to be done kitchen work and fleshing and filleting and whatever else.
All right, let me throw something in here real quick. Everybody knows that I build custom Kydex sheaths for the military, outdoorsmen, whoever, right? Whoever wants one. These type of knives do not Kydex well.
Right.
And I'll show you why, okay? There is no place on this knife that I can see that will give you that Kydex click, okay?
Yeah.
Hold on for a second. Let me, all right. All right. There's nothing on that knife that'll give you this, okay? There's no protruding area of this knife that I can latch onto with the Kydex, okay? So, if you're going to make a neck knife out of this, it's got to sit up straight.
Yep. That's how I
It's got
carry
to
them
sit
anyway.
like this on your neck.
I carry them like that all the time.
All right? Okay, just to throw that in there. And all these knives that he's showing here, these two are really thin steel, less than 1/8 of an inch.
All right, now, everybody I believe knows Jeff White.
Jeff White.
He's really simple. A lot of his designs are like French trapper, English
Did Dave
trapper.
Canterbury make him famous?
I don't know. They use his curly birch or curly maple sometimes. This reminds me of my friend Tom Kuzak. He uses a lot of this handle material and makes knives that are similar to this. They're very frontierish, long hunter, whatever. They're simple knives. They're made 1095. Some are 01. I think this is 01 tool steel. I'm not sure. I know one of them I got 01 tool steel. Might be another one. But anyway, I like the rustic look. I'm from another century anyway. I don't belong here. This came out of New Hampshire. They're making their own sheaths for them, because usually when you buy a Jeff White knife, you don't get this kind of sheath. But this is the typical, like the grommets and whatever, like they used to make the old mountain men knives. We used to use pins and saddlery grommets.
Really simple mountain man sheath.
Yeah, and so this came out of Nashua, New Hampshire. you know, usually the Jeff White knives come out of Peru, Indiana, or Indiana itself. And what I heard, this is
this a Jeff White?
It is a Jeff White.
Okay.
By here, see his logo right here.
I see it.
This handle came a little darker than what it was. I took olive oil and cleaned it up. Yeah, I think it's curly maple is what it is.
Curly maple?
Curly maple.
Yeah, it could be.
And I lightened it up a little bit. They're on eBay. These knives, or this knife was, I don't know, $65 with $10 shipping and handling. They come like in 2 or 3 days.
Looks pretty sharp.
It is very sharp. And like I said,
did you put that edge on there?
I did.
But that's a convex edge.
Yeah,
I
do it all. I do my own sharpening.
Very nice. Okay. Nice and sharp. 1/16 of an inch steel. Okay. For you guys who like these really thick knives, you think they got to be really thick because they're gonna, I don't know, break? Today's steels are pretty tough, all of them. Now I'm talking about across the board generally, okay? If it's a decent knife, it's going to be made from a decent steel, okay? Even if it's just 440 stainless, that's a decent steel, okay? You're not going to break even a 1/16 of an inch thick knife, okay? Unless you're really rough with
It's
it.
3/32, I think it is.
This one?
Yeah, I think it is.
I don't know, it's like 1/16 to me, but
Nah.
it could be. It could be 3/32.
Because the other one I'm going to show you is an eighth.
You know, what do they say? 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah.
Okay, broomstick style handle. I want to say something about these types of handles, okay? I personally do not prefer this type of handle, and here's the reason. Number one, if you're really working hard with this knife, doing a lot of carving, it tends to do this in your hand, slip around, okay? The other thing is, if you should have to defend yourself with this knife, it comes out of the hand really easy.
Yeah, there's no guard.
Okay?
Yeah.
There's no guard, there's no finger choils, nothing to keep that knife in your hand. And I want to tell you this right now. Water and blood are very slippery on knife handles.
Yep.
Okay? That knife will come out of your hand if it's got blood or water or something on it. Okay? So, not my favorite style of handle.
But as you know, knives are made for certain reasons.
Right.
Okay, that's why you have fillet knives for fish. Okay. All right. I have another one I'm going to be getting now. Jeff White has the Bush 1. This is the Bush 1. And he has the Bush 2, which is a little longer in the same
That
style.
looks like maple.
But a little, I think it is, but a little wider and a little longer. I have it on my watch list. I might buy it. It's going to cost me $85 if I do buy it. This one here was about $70. Okay, this is the Jeff White Bush 1. There's his logo. I don't know if you can see the logo. It looks like a canoe or whatever.
Okay,
Maybe it's
so really
3/32.
thin steel. I would say 16th. Okay.
I like the bellies on it.
Convex edge grind.
It's a drop point.
Okay. This is a flat grind into a convex grind or a convex edge. Okay. I like this knife. How much for this one? 70?
I think $65.
65. That's a good price for a knife, especially one that works well.
And
Functions,
they're
holds an edge.
handmade. I mean, you know.
Right. And if it's a Jeff White, you can bet your butt that the heat treat's right on it.
One of the reasons why
That's sharp.
I'm getting them, I had one a long time ago, a Bush 1 that I sold at a gun show, but is because if he is injured or he can't make knives anymore, only the price is going to go up on him. Stout, simple sheath.
Right?
You know, I like simplicity. The more shit you have on something, the more it goes wrong.
But again, it's got one of them slippery handles that I don't...
Well, it's more oblong than it is round. You know,
True.
It's got more
and
angles
it's
to it.
tapered toward the,
Yeah.
fatter in the back here, so
Right.
that gives you a little bit
I
more
have another
purchase.
one of these coming, same design, different wood, by Ancient Alien.
But this just goes to show you, field knives do not have to be made out of thick steel. That's really thin stuff right there. This is about as thin as it gets for a knife.
I have some, I think it's called Anderson knives. He makes them like out of really thin.
This one actually has a little finger choil. I feel it there.
Yeah.
See it?
I think it's called, they're Anderson knives. They're kind of like this, made this way too, rustic, whatever. And they're real thin. I mean, you can actually flex them. But they're used for slicing. They're used for cutting. I mean, you know.
Here's another thing with a knife like this. I want to just bring this point to light because I am a sheath maker and I think about this kind of stuff. When you have a knife like this with a belly, right, that doesn't have much of a ricasso, okay, what happens is when you try to put it in the sheath, you got to put them in straight, okay, because if you don't, you'll slice that sheath right down the length, right? You got to put them in straight.
Center them.
Got to center them straight, because if it's cocked just a little bit,
cut.
You'll slice that leather right down, okay? Yeah.
Okay. So another knife company I think's underrated by some people, but it's very good. This guy Joe, you know who Joe Flowers is. He's the one of the designers, Matt Graham and all those guys for Condor knives. You know, and out of El Salvador, you know, they got 1075, 1095, sometimes 01 tool. They got 5160, whatever. They make they've made a big variety of knives since the time they came out with the Bush lure and what was the other one? The Bush something or other, or the tool. It was a simpler knife, Bushcraft
I'm not familiar
or whatever.
with their names.
Anyway, somebody took a blade blank of a Condor El Salvador blade blank. They did the patina with oak little stencils here, oak leaf stencils. Put a different type of wood, I don't remember the wood, and did the mosaics here in the back side, which I thought were really nice.
Yeah, mosaic pins.
And it's got a red liner. I paid, I don't know, 45 to 60 bucks.
Wow.
See, price to me, I don't remember stuff. I don't care. Okay, I just buy them. Okay, but I stay within a limit. Okay, so anyway, that's the Bush lure.
Okay, so this is a really popular knife. The production-made Bush lure by Condor is I'd say one of their most popular designs.
Yes.
It's again, thousands of guys have these knives.
Yes.
Okay, and this is a blank, right, that they sell, that this maker took and put a different handle on, right, and then, you know, contoured it up like a bush lore knife, right? So nice, I like it. Feels a little heavy to me though.
I like it. It's in your hand. You
For
know
this
what I mean?
particular knife.
Yeah, but it's in your hand. You can, you know, it's in your hand. The Bush lure goes for anywhere from, you know, 40 to 50 bucks on eBay, usually around $48. I have a regular one. It's a good knife. I mean, Greg Barr wanted a bush lure, and I wanted a Bob's front, you know,
Right.
whatever. So we didn't trade, but he went and bought a bush lure, and I went and bought a
Right.
Bob's Fieldcraft, you know, because we liked them.
This is one of those knives that guys will put a nice Kydex sheath on, because it's a nice knife. I don't care what you pay for it. If it's a nice knife and it works well for you in the field, it's worth putting a nice sheath on.
It'll do a good service for you. It's a general all-around knife, and I just think it's well designed. It's a drop point, which I
Brass
like.
pins.
Yeah, I mean, the Bush
Liners.
lure, I think, is if you want a knife that's a backup knife or one you can carry every day, I believe the Bush lure is a good knife for
It's a
the
nice
price.
knife, really is. And the production Bush lure is lighter than this.
Yeah.
It's a pretty light knife,
Yeah.
or a utility knife.
Yeah, I think the
Thinner steel,
I think the
1/8
I think
inch.
the liners make it a little heavier, maybe the wood, you know, whatever. But I like it. I like feeling it in my hand. So
Condor is another company that figured out that your field knives do not have to be made of really thick steel.
right now, this next one is made by Laurie. It's a Laurie blade, and that's what I want to say about the Verusel, I'm sorry, the Peltronen, the first one we showed. That's made by Laurie. They're also from up in the northern part of Finland. Okay.
It's a company?
Yeah, it's a company. Now, this is a differentially tempered blade. And this is a hickory handle that my friend Tom Kuzak put on this for me. And if you notice, this is like a 3.5 inch, maybe 3.25 inch blade, but it's a 4-inch handle. I like big handles. I have a small, medium-sized hand, but I don't like having my hand all cramped up on a little handle. So even though it's a shorter blade, I like a bigger handle. So
Okay.
that's hickory from an axe handle, by the way.
This is well made.
He does a good job.
Who was it?
Tom Kuzak.
Tom Kuzak.
He's out of New Jersey. He did one for DJ.
A lot of purchase on this handle. You
I
put this
designed the
knife in your
handle.
hand, it ain't coming out.
I designed the handle shape.
Nice, very nice. I like it. Good.
I have a larger one too. I have a 7-inch one, also the same type of handle. They're a match set.
Who makes the blade?
Laurie, L-A-U-R-I.
Because that looks like a Pucco.
It is.
Varistaleka.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's Laurie. They're finished, and it's the blade itself.
Is that a rat tail?
Yeah, it's a rat.
It's a rat tail tang. So
But
it
it's not round. It's wide. It's flat.
Flat, right?
It's a flat steel.
And then all the way to the end, and they peen the back there to keep everything together, right? Nice. Well, not too sharp, but it could be sharper. But this is easy. If your knife doesn't have a 90-degree spine and you want it to have a 90-degree spine, it is very easy to put one on. Okay? All you need is like a belt grinder or a file or something like that. Okay? If you're interested in knowing how to do that, it's really simple. Just text me or PM me on Facebook. I'll tell you how to do it. It's easy.
This to me is what I consider a good neck knife. I like narrower or thinner ones, Puccos, because
Fairly light.
But it's a wider, broader blade. And if you don't have the length and the weight of a big knife to hit split wood, a wider blade will help you in doing that, even though the blade is short.
Right.
Okay. I like wide blades. Okay. Last but not least, I have a knife here that probably not a lot of people have. And this is one of Doug's first production knives. His BMF, we call it.
Oh, no.
And this is, he knows the steels and all the other good stuff. But you'll notice that I have a really simple Yellow Hawk sheath. It's just what I like.
This is an old one.
Yeah, it's an old one.
sheath.
He made for me because I just like them simple, stupid. That's all. Cover the blade. I don't give a shit about anything else. All right. This is a micarta handle, and it's after the English type trapper design. And I'll let him take it away.
All right. So this is the very first knife that I designed. This was years ago. Okay. I don't know, 6-7 years ago I designed this.
It's like 15 or 14 or something like that.
And I was having these made in England, a small knife company in England. But it got to the point where, and there are 2 other iterations of this design that we sold after this as well. But this is the first one, and I took it off of an old French trapper design with modern materials and a little bit of flair for the design. Okay. Really sharp 90-degree spine, Scandi edge, micarta scales, stainless steel pins with brass tubes around the pins. Really cool looking, and this is one of the red, brown, and black handles that we sold. And I tell you what, we only made like 4 of these.
Yeah, not many at all.
These right here. Most of them were green and black, the handles. And I do not have one anymore. I haven't seen this knife in forever, man.
I consider it a collector's item. It's a really durable knife. Fred Horn has one.
Sharp.
Has one that has the newer 3MOV, the one you beat into the ground with.
Oh yeah. That's an 01 tool steel.
The 01 tool steel.
01 tool steel.
I couldn't. I just didn't care for the edge on that for some reason, so I traded him a Tomahawk for it.
All right. So this is 01 tool steel, really stout, 3/16 inch thick. I like it. I designed it. It's a nice knife.
Yeah.
But what happened was it was becoming increasingly more difficult to work with those people through correspondence. It got to the point where the last run of knives that they made for me, the heat treats were not right. I had to send the whole run back, and that's when I cut it off with them. Matter of fact, I don't even got my money back for it. I mean, I lost a lot on that run. So I stopped making them overseas. It's not happening anymore. That's why I work with custom knife makers here in the U.S. now. Okay, Now, if there was a custom knife maker in, say, Australia that wanted to work with me or something, I would do it, probably. I'd have to see. But the way it works is the custom knife maker either gets a hold of me or I get a hold of them, and we work out a deal where it's my design, they make the designs. Once they make the design, it becomes theirs, okay? They make the money off the design, and when they make the knife for the client, it's finished, they send the knife to me, and I make the sheath for it, and the client and I come up. So they become knife and sheath systems, and that's how I work with the guys I work with now. Joshua Blankenship and Mike Wallace, and who's the other guy? Farnsworth. What's his name? Sam Farnsworth. And Brian Sells, guys like that I work with.
So, for what it's worth, I would like to see him produce another line of these, because I think this is a very stout knife, and it works well on the hand. It's sharp, and it just has all the integral things I'm looking for. It's got a nice point. It's got a nice spear point. It's wide enough. Okay, it's thick enough for doing some, splitting tasks, whatever. It feels good in the hand. I like it. It's just a very durable knife, and I would like to see him probably bring this back again.
Okay, so I did bring it back, and there it is. Okay, but this is a custom knife. Okay, this is the BMF made by Mike Wallace at Wallace Edge Tools. Okay, this is a collaboration between myself and Mike. We took my design, which is that one there, changed it a little bit, and came up with a nice custom knife. Now, honestly, these knives are about $350 to $400, but this is as good as it gets for custom knives, and they're CPM 3V steel. So.
I'd like to see him bring back a more reasonable knife that would cost about $150,
right.
$180.
That's what he's talking
that
about.
Some guys could, get a hold of, because I think it's a good design. And one last thing I'd like to talk about. We always talk about survival and stuff like that. I went in the scout shop. I'm an ex-scouter, but I don't think I'm an ex-scouter. I've always been a scouter. And I don't know whether you can see this or not, but this was a kerchief that they had in there. I have one by the Appalachian Trail Society and whatever. But it's kind of cool to have, because it has your compass, your fire making, your shelter building, all the things that you might forget, first aid, so forth and so on. And one reason why I like my sheath simple is because I carry everything in my cargo pocket. Okay, so there's my lighter, and there's my Hunter Victorinox. I love Swiss Army knives, especially with a good saw. Now here's the Appalachian Trails. See their little survival thing.
These are the same.
Oh yeah, see, survival thing here. Okay, so this makes a good cravat, a bandage, a sling. It can be used to signal, because they're yellow on their arms and so forth and so on. Right. So if you ever see these, and pick one up or two and shove it in your pocket. So that's why I don't have a ton of stuff on my sheaths. And I'll show you another thing in my other cargo pocket. Okay, here's my other stuff. Okay, I'm not going to go into it, but if I lose my sheath and my knife, I'm dead in the water. But I still
when would that ever happen?
Well, if I was really a severe, extreme dude going out in the woods and whatever, that's so. That is so. Or if I was back in the military again, maybe. Okay, but that's that. Another thing that you might want to think about is I bought some 4 milliliter black trash bags.
Contractor bags?
Yeah, contractor bags. You can't go wrong with these to make a raincoat, a ground cloth, whatever. You can stick leaves in it, you can sleep in it, whatever. Just a good thing to have around.
Alright guys, that's it for this video. Bobby, anything else?
I'm good, man. Thanks a lot. Just stay tuned for some more down the road.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. This is Doug Wilson from Yellow Hawk Customs Outdoors. See ya!
Grizz out.